This is Friday Night Football on KLST, brought to you by Randall Motors.
Welcome into the third week of Friday Night Football. It's the best day of the week, and we're glad you're watching. I'm Charles Bryce. The 2025 season is moving along quickly here in the second weekend of September. Over the next 15 minutes, we'll have coverage from all around the Concho Valley, from Class 6A down to 1A. We're now going to send it out to Brian Cunningham, who is live inside San Angelo Stadium for more on tonight's matchup between Central and Abilene Cooper. Brian?
Good evening, and live from San Angelo Stadium, I'm Brian Cunningham. We just put the bow on week 3 of the high school football season. The Central Bobcats just hosted Abilene Cooper in what was a very good back-and-forth game for the home crowd. And the Central Bobcats just got their first win of the season. And again, what better way to do it than in front of your home crowd? So how did we get here? We had a 40-35 win for the Bobcats. Bobcats scoring just as many points tonight as they did the first 2 weeks of the regular season. 130 yards on the ground between 2 running backs. You had another 200-plus yards through the air. The Bobcats offense is showing what it has been ramping up to get to from the last few weeks, and the fruits of the labor have paid off tonight. Now, there was a little bit of a scare. About 2 minutes to go, Abilene Cooper gets the ball back, down 5, but the defense stood tall in this one. Again, Mark Smith was harping that third down defense and red zone as well as run defense is what the big hits at practice were this week, and Mason Van Sickle on the final third down of the game got a sack, closed the game. Bobcats would get the ball back 40-35. They would take their first win of the season. Again, live from San Angelo Stadium. The last bus is just pulling out, and we're going to send it back over to you guys.
Thank you, Brian. Here's those highlights from Central versus Cooper. Opening shot of Central, run out the coin toss shot. Second Cougar drive led to a goal line TD run from Jaden Carrillo and the QB keeper. Bobcats respond near the 50. Gabriel Garcia gets a strike from Micah and takes it to the house. 7-7 tie. After a crucial third down, Cougars convert. The next play, a 20-plus yard strike to Jace Johnson to take a 14-7 lead. Bobcats down 14-10, line up for a 45-plus yard field goal attempt, but it's no good. 10-14 Cougars halftime lead. Abilene Cooper to receive the second half kick. And the home crowd goes home happy tonight after the Bobcats hang on for a 40-35 win for the first dub on the year. The Lakeview Chiefs up now for Class 4A. The Chiefs are eyeing their first 3-0 start in 6 years when they traveled to Lamesa. Lakeview held a 26-19 lead in the series, and the Chiefs have won 3 straight against the Golden Tornadoes, including a 55-42 win last year. Chiefs were up 38-14 in the fourth. Our 3A coverage kicks off with TLCA San Angelo on the road against Ballinger. Eagles were chasing their first win of the season in their second road matchup of the year. Ballinger dominated TLCA last year. That loss snapped a 2-game win streak by TLCA in the series. Bearcats lead the series 4-2. Ballinger was up 27-6 in the fourth. We continue our 3A coverage with a high-profile matchup of the number 3 Wall Hawks on the road against number 10 Gymnad in a battle of undefeated former district rivals. And let's get to those highlights now. Second quarter, no score. Wall with the ball. QB1, Landon York, is looking deep in the direction of Reed Robertson, who makes one heck of a play. No touchdown, but a flag on the field. Pass interference called on the Indians. A few plays later, 3rd and goal for the Hawks. York to Robertson. This time the connection is good for a 4-yard touchdown. 7-0 Wall. Next Wall possession. Gymnad defense is trying to keep the Indians in it. York to Robertson, but check out the hit from the senior linebacker Aiden Ellis. 2 plays later, 2nd and long, the Gymnad defense is good for another big play. This time it's Camden Lewis coming in hot, preventing Hagan Barbie from making the grab. The Hawks would have to settle for a Tyler Kleinsmith field goal, giving the kids from the Concho Valley a 10-0 lead with less than 2 to go in the half. After a high punt snap from Gymnad, giving Wall great field position, York would take full advantage, connecting with the sophomore Barbie for the touchdown, giving Wall the 17-0 lead heading into the half. Wall led 24-0 in the fourth at last check. Grape Creek continues Class 3A coverage. The Eagles on the road against a familiar opponent, the Bangs Dragons. The Eagles are 1-1 this season. Bangs 0-2. Dragons also holding the overall 11-game series lead, 9 wins to 2. Bangs wins 31-26. Wrapping up our 3A coverage, the Brady Bulldogs hosted the Class 2A Ozona Lions, who have been lighting up the scoreboard in 2025. Here's the highlights of that matchup of 2-0 squads. Getting the scoring going would first be Ozona as Christian Villarreal hits the jump pass to Andon Glosson following the handoff after a 2-point conversion. It would be 8-0 Lions. But here comes Braden's Sean Jacoby, who gets the Bulldogs offense rolling with a QB keeper down the sideline for a big gain. Jacoby sets himself up nicely as he would later finish off the drive in the end zone on another keeper, making it 8-6. But Jacoby was not done, and a short while later, Brady back with the ball again, and Jacoby again finds some real estate and eventually pay dirt as the Bulldogs take the lead 12-8. Final, but Christian, Villarreal, and the Lions do not look to be denied as they were up 46-26 late in the fourth. Coming up next on Friday Night Football, we send it down to Class 2A next when we return.
This is Friday Night Football on KLST, brought to you by Randall Motors.
The Cristobal Cougars kick off our 2A coverage as they hosted the McCamey Badgers, hoping to get their first win under new head coach Tanner McLean. And now to the highlights from Jack Pardee Memorial Stadium. First quarter action with Cristobal already up 7-0, and the Cougars strike again on a long touchdown connection to Israel Boggs to stretch the lead to 14-0. Still in the first quarter, McCamey burns the Cougar defense on a long TD reception by Wesley Mills. PAT failed, making it 14-6 Cristobal. Still in the first period, the Cougars respond on the next series with an impressive drive, culminated by a 1-yard TD plunge. Hard to see the ball carrier, 21-6 Cristobal. Second quarter action now. Cristobal thrills the home crowd with a beautiful TD pass to Cannon Green in the corner of the end zone to stretch the Cougars' lead to 28-6. Cristobal gets its first win under McLean, 43-12. It was an all-Concho Valley showdown in El Dorado as the Eagles hosted the Sonora Broncos, both teams coming in at 1-1. Sonora won 50 the first 83 matchups, and the Broncos shut out El Dorado last year for a third straight win in the series. It dates back to 1922. Sonora led 26-14 in the fourth. Mason Punchers were trying to avoid an 0-3 start when they traveled to Coleman. Punchers dropped a 2-point heartbreaker at home against Brady last week. Blue Cats came in at 1-1. The Punchers won 8 of the first 12 matchups with the Blue Cats, and they rolled to a 53-6 blowout in 2024. Mason was up 50-9 in the fourth. The Sterling City Eagles were looking for their first win under new head coach Kellen Luker when they traveled to Winners. Sterling City had only scored one touchdown in its first two games, and the Eagles got shut out by Miles last week. Sterling City rolled past Winners 45-0 last year, but Winners led 24-14 in the fourth at last check. The Miles Bulldogs took a 1-1 record into a showdown on the road against Johnson City. This is just the second meeting between the Bulldogs and Eagles. Miles rolled 46-6 last year. Johnson City came into tonight's game on the heels of a 22-12 win on the road against previously undefeated Sonora. Johnson City led 42-6 in the fourth. The Junction Eagles moved up to number 10 in the Class 2A Division II rankings this week after opening the season with wins against Goldthwaite and San Saba. Eagles were looking to defend their home turf again tonight against the early Longhorns, a team they manhandled 49-12 last year. Junction had a 28-14 lead in the third. Coming up next on Friday Night Football, we drop down to Class 1A with 9 Concho Valley teams in action in the 6-man ranks. Don't go anywhere. Friday Night Football will be right back after a short break.
This is Friday Night Football on KLST, brought to you by Randall Motors.
We start off our Class 1A coverage with the undefeated Robert Lee Steers hosting the Ira Bulldogs at the newly resurfaced Griffith Stadium. And here are the highlights of that 6-man showdown. First quarter, Steers' first possession, and they waste no time. Running back Josh Garces punches it in at the goal line, 7-0 home team. Steers' next drive, quarterback Brenner Sherwood takes a snap, stands in the pocket, scrambles to his right, and he tiptoes down the sideline, evades several defenders, cuts it downfield, making guys miss. Look at him go. Sherwood trots into the end zone, touchdown Steers, 16-0. At this point, the Steers are just pouring it on, adding a pick six right here near midfield. It's Garces again, makes his way past the 20, makes a man miss all the way home. Touchdown, 22-0. Steers causing more damage on defense, this time swarming the Bulldogs quarterback for a loss. Forcing a fumble, Nate Samaniego with a scoop and score. Put another touchdown on the board. Steers dominate. Final score, 60-14. Our Class 1A coverage continues with the 0-2 Erie County Hornets, hoping to knock off the Midland Holy Cross Crusaders. Here's the highlights from OK Wolfenbarger Field. Erie County struck first and often early on. Hagen Turman, the long TD run here, 8-0 Hornets early. The ensuing drive, Midland under duress, a bad throw, and a pick six. Another way for the Hornets, 14-0 before you can blink. Hornets the ball again. Another pitch outside determined. Gets back across and scores another one tonight. 22-0 Hornets lead. Barely 2 minutes left. Hagen Turman another one. His third rushing touchdown of the quarter. Hornets with a dominant win in this one, 65-20. And our only all Concho Valley matchup in 1A tonight. The 2-0 brought Longhorns travel to 0-2 very best. The Horns enjoyed shutouts in their first two games, and the Falcons were looking to put their first points on the board in 2025. First up, brought possession. Quarterback Jack Robbins looks deep, finds his man Raymond Williams for the touchdown. 16-0 Horns. Tried to pour it on, and they do. Parker Holland runs down the sideline. Nobody's going to catch him as he struts to the end zone, 24-0. Very best Falcons trying to make something happen. Still have yet to crack the scoreboard all season until now. Check out this crazy play. Lorenzo Height spins around all day. Somehow he escapes and reaches the goal line. Touchdown Falcons. PAT good. Two-score game now at 24-8. Brock came in having not allowed any points so far this year. That obviously changes, but doesn't make a difference as the Longhorns dominate once again, winning 54-8. The Water Valley Wildcats moved up a spot to number 2 in their 1A Division I rankings this week on the heels of a 56-8 blowout on the road against Hermley last week. They were looking to go 3-0 with a road win against Panther Creek tonight. And the Wildcats shut out the Panthers 65-0 last year for a third straight win. Water Valley rolls this time 61-6. The Paint Rock Indians were coming off their first win since 2023 last week at home against Lorraine, and they were trying to make it 2 in a row. In a road game against the Olfen Mustangs. This is the second meeting between the programs. Paint Rock took the first one in 2021. Unfortunately, we don't have a score on this one. The Eden Bulldogs traveled to the Lomita Hornets in a battle of undefeated teams. Lomita has dominated the series, winning 8 in a row. The Hornets enjoyed a 30-point victory last year. Eden's last win in the series was back in 1980. The Bulldogs had allowed a total of just 14 points in the first two games. It was 64-14 Eden. And the Blackwell Hornets entered the season ranked 15th, and they were hoping to redeem themselves after opening the year with back-to-back losses against some tough competition. They took on the Roby Lions on the road. Roby won the first 3 matchup, including a 2-point nail-biter last year. Roby rolls this time 37-7. The Menard Yellow Jackets up next. They hosted the Rock Springs Angoras on Thursday night, looking to improve to 3-0, and it was Menard in a runaway as the Jackets took it 68-6 in a contest that ended at the half due to the 45-point mercy rule. Yellow Jackets will be back at home next week against Brunt for a Concho Valley showdown. Coming up next on Friday Night Football, we wrap things up. When we return, don't go anywhere. Friday Night Football will be right back after a short break.
This is Friday Night Football on KLST, brought to you by Randall Motors.
And, of course, with football season comes our annual Concho Valley High School Football Trivia Challenge. To enter the sweepstakes, simply visit our website, ConchoValleyHomepage.com, click the Contest tab, and submit your answers each week for your chance to win the grand prize, a $100 H-E-B gift card. Grand prize winner will be announced at the end of the season in mid-November. One of this week's questions, how many total matchups have Abilene Cooper and Central seen before this year? A, 44, B, 2, C, 67, or D, 51? Remember to visit our website to submit your answer. And the week 3 headlines, Central versus Abilene Cooper. Bobcats were eyeing their first win of the year, and they get it, 40-35. Lakeview versus Lamesa. Chiefs trying to go 3-0, first time in 6 years. They were up 44-20 in the fourth. Number 3, Wall versus number 10, Gymnad. The Hawks faced arguably their toughest test of the season so far. Hawks take it 24-0. Ozona versus Brady, an all Concho Valley matchup of undefeated teams. Ozona led 46-26 in the fourth. And looking ahead to next week, Central travels to Belton in the next to last non-district matchup of the year. Bobcats enjoyed a 33-8 victory last year. Lakeview will be back at home to take on Lubbock High. Chiefs will look to snap a 2-game losing streak against the Westerners. Number 3, Wall will hit the road for another showdown against Monahans. Hawks squeezed out a 27-20 win last year. And number 10, Junction will head to the Puncher Dome for a road matchup against longtime rival Mason. The Punchers have won 18 in a row against the Eagles. And that's going to wrap it up for tonight. We appreciate you you're joining in, be sure to go to our Concho Valley homepage to check out all the scores and highlights. We will see you here next week. I'm Charles Price. Thanks for tuning in. Good night, Concho Valley.
Friday Night Football staff is provided by Chick-fil-A.